Hey everyone, John here from testprepinsight.com, and today I'm going to be doing a review of the Manhattan Prep GMAT course. As some of you might know, Kaplan, who owns Manhattan Prep, folded their own prep program into Manhattan Prep's course about a year or so ago, and then on top of that, the format of the GMAT just changed to the new Focus edition. So today we're going to take a look at what the new combined GMAT course looks like and what they've done to get ready for the Focus version of the exam. But before we just dive right in, just as a heads up that since I'll just be covering the major highlights in this video today, if you find you need some more detail at any point, you can always check out our full detailed written review of Manhattan Prep over on our website. An easy way to get there is just to Google Test Prep Insight Manhattan Prep GMAT Review. It's the quickest way to find it. All right, so like I just mentioned, Manhattan Prep has recently updated their prep program to align with the new version of the GMAT Focus. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, well, basically, the GMAT has undergone some pretty radical changes and looks pretty different from the classic version of the exam that was around for the last 20 years or so. And I don't want to go too far into the weeds here because it's not the focus of this video, but some of the updates include changing the testing durations for each section down to 45 minutes. They renamed integrated reasoning to data insights. There's no more essay section. They've removed all grammar and geometry. They've changed how subjects are tested with different question types. And most importantly, data analysis is now weighed a lot more heavily on your score. So there's some pretty big changes here. And that's why we wanted to look at the new combined Kaplan/Manhattan Prep course again, to make sure that they've tweaked their curriculum to account for these updates. So let's just dive right on in. Now, generally speaking, the high-level structure of this course hasn't changed too much. They've taken the old integrated reasoning section, which is now data insights, and sort of lumped it in with quant since there's so much crossover. But otherwise, structurally speaking, a lot of it looks the same to me. The Manhattan Prep course is largely driven by your syllabus, which is carried out by a program called Atlas. You're given a very organized, task-based agenda, and the program is structured to be completed over 12 weeks. There's 9 weeks of lessons and homework, followed by a 3-week period of review and practice before exam day. But that assumes you don't need extra help with math. When you first sign up, one of the very first tasks that Manhattan Prep is going to have you do is take a basic math diagnostic. It's just 16 problems and meant to assess your current math skills. But based on how you do, they might recommend you take their Foundations of Math course before diving in. And there's actually 2 ways to get the math foundations work done. You can either stop what you're doing and tackle that whole series before getting into the actual course, or you can do it in chunks as you go over the first 4 weeks. Personally, here's what I would recommend. If you struggle with most of the problems on that diagnostic and haven't taken any math classes in a few years, then just do the Foundations of Math course up front. It takes an extra 4 weeks by itself, which is kind of crazy, but it's definitely worth the extra time if you're weak in math. And if you do so-so on the diagnostic and feel good about some problems but not others, then just do it over the first 4 weeks as you go. That way you can keep moving and just layer it in. Or if you're good at math and don't struggle too much with that diagnostic, then don't even bother with it. Just jump right into the course. But do keep in mind that if you do that math course up front, like I said, it takes roughly 4 weeks to get through the video workshops and reading assignments, so it will extend the course to 16 weeks long instead of 12. But anyway, whether you do the Foundations of Math course up front or layered in or not at all, there are 2 different ways to tackle the Manhattan course. There's a self-paced version of the course and a version with live classes. Now, to explain the difference as simply as possible, from what I could tell, the live class version is basically the exact same as the on-demand self-paced version, but with 27 hours of live instruction in an online classroom layered in. And even at that, the video lectures that make up the instructional component of the self-paced course are recordings from those live classes. So the only real difference is whether you want to participate in real time so you can ask the instructor questions, or maybe you just need the commitment and accountability that comes with the live class schedule. The live classes meet once a week for 3 hours, and that can be a big deal to some people, just to help keep them on track and disciplined. But in the end, it kind of just comes down to whether the cost difference is worth the value of those live classes. And not to get off topic here, but let's just talk about that cost as long as we're sort of on the subject. The standard Manhattan Prep on-demand course runs for $850, and their package with live classes costs $1,850. So it's about an even $1,000 difference between these 2 packages. A pretty sizable chunk of change. But what I will say here is that Manhattan Prep is really aggressive with sales and special promos, and you'll rarely pay full price, which could change your thoughts on which package to opt for. With Manhattan Prep, you can almost always find one of their course options for at least $100 off, so make sure to check for discounts. In fact, I'll actually do my best to keep the description down below updated with the most current discount and promo codes that I can find floating around out there. So make sure to check out that text below the video screen and maybe save yourself some money if you do decide to go with Manhattan Prep in the end. You should not have to pay full price here. But anyway, the question really comes down to whether the live classes are worth that extra $1,000. And that's just going to depend on your individual situation. But I'll just say this, I thought the live classes were very good. The Manhattan instructors are probably the best we've seen in the GMAT space. They have such good communication skills, approaches to tackling different problem types, and just frankly, a really good grasp on the subject matter. But you also get these same instructors in the pre-recorded video lectures in the on-demand package, so it's really hard call. But either way, I guess the point I'm trying to make is that the Manhattan team of instructors is very, very good. But anyway, let's circle back to the syllabus. Whether you take the live class version of the course or the on-demand package, you're looking at about 8 to 15 hours of homework each week. That's about what we found. Like I said at the beginning, the Atlas program is organized around a week-by-week schedule, and each week kind of looks the same. You'll have a module for quant and DI, data insights, and a module for verbal. You'll start with your live class or a video lecture, and from there, you'll get assigned readings from the course books and practice problem sets. Now those books, when you sign up for Manhattan Prep's course, you get 6 main prep books. You can get these in ebook form for free or in hard copy printed format for an extra charge. My 2 cents is to get the print books. I don't want to say that the software where you read the ebooks sucks necessarily, but it definitely was not my favorite. The print books were just way more practical and valuable in my opinion. And this is especially true because of how you access your practice work in the Manhattan Prep program. Let me explain. So Manhattan Prep doesn't actually generate practice problems themselves. They license them from GMAT, the makers of the exam. And that's great news. You're literally practicing on problems from real past exams, so there's no better form of practice material. But the downside is that GMAT doesn't allow Manhattan Prep to reproduce the problems in digital format within the Atlas program for some kind of copyright reason. So what ends up happening is you do the problems in the book, either the print book or the ebook, and then review your answers in the Atlas program. It's a little odd, and honestly, it's one of the few things that I did not like about the Manhattan Prep course. But obviously, that's not really their fault, and you kind of have to jump back and forth between resources to review practice problem sets. So that's part of the reason why I think the print books are actually worth it in this case. And to continue on that thread, when you finish your assigned practice problem sets in the syllabus, you review the problem explanations in a program called Navigator. Basically, you work the problems in the book and then jump over and review the solutions in the Navigator portal. And I'll just say that the solutions that Manhattan Prep has crafted to go along with each problem are very good. They're all very detailed and well explained, and probably the best that we've seen, honestly. If you didn't have to jump back and forth between the study tools, it would be perfect. But by the way, if you want to see some more detailed screen grabs of what I'm talking about with any of this, make sure to check out that full detailed written review that I mentioned earlier in this video. I'll have a link to that down below. But one other aspect of their practice material that I want to mention is that Manhattan Prep wants you categorizing and tracking every problem you take. They are absolutely relentless about tracking your progress, especially when it comes to practice tests. But here's the thing, it's a manual process. Every time you take a CAT exam, they expect you to spend a big chunk of time afterwards going problem by problem and categorizing whether you got it right or wrong, whether you guessed, what your mistake was, and basically spend some time thinking about each question and learning from your mistakes. It's kind of brutal, but luckily with the new focus version of the GMAT, it's only 64 total problems per test, so it goes kind of fast. And it's cool to have that data later as you're preparing in the last week or two so you know what areas to work on. But to summarize, it's a helpful but very labor-intensive process. Anyway, that's kind of how it goes. For the first 9 weeks, you attend your class each week or watch the pre-recorded video lectures, do your assigned reading, and work your practice problems, reviewing after you're done. During those 9 weeks, there are 3 assigned mock exams and then 3 more during the last couple weeks before the test day. And also around those mock exams during the last couple weeks, they have you focus on mindset and generally try to have you learn from your mistakes and clean up any problem areas. Around all of this, there are a few more small features like a digital whiteboard and a student forum to ask questions and connect with other students, but that's sort of Manhattan Prep in a nutshell. So let's get to my final thoughts and verdict. But before I dive into that and forget, I should just mention that every single month here at Test Prep Insight, we actually give away a free prep course to one lucky person. It's super simple to enter and everyone is eligible. I'll put all the details down below in the description on how to get entered, but just know it takes like 10 seconds and hey, you never know, you could win a totally free Manhattan Prep GMAT course. All right, my final thoughts. Is Manhattan Prep's GMAT course worth it? Honestly, I think this course is one of the best in the space. It is just such a well thought out and structured approach to teaching that it just feels more robust and comprehensive than all the other courses that I've taken and reviewed. The instructors are fantastic. The practice problems are official questions from past exams. The accompanying explanations are absolute money. And the 12-week syllabus is the perfect length and structure. I'm just a really big fan of this course. Now, I don't really like how they have you jump back and forth between the books and digital portal. The meticulous problem tracking does get a little old, and the course is a little pricey, but overall, I really like this GMAT prep program and think you cannot go wrong with Manhattan Prep. But anyway, that's all I've got for you. I hope this video has been helpful and you learned a little something about Manhattan Prep's GMAT course. If so, please return the favor by subscribing to our channel, liking this video, and drop me a quick comment below. That would be really appreciated. And again, if you want to see that full, detailed written review that I mentioned earlier in this video, just hop on over to our website. Again, that's testprepinsight.com. Or you can check out the other videos we have on our YouTube channel. We've got a bunch of great content out there. But as always, thanks for watching, best of luck, and I'll see you in the next one.